You think you lack discipline, lack determination, lack something strong enough to change your life. That sounds reasonable, because if life were that easy, then everyone would already be waking up at 5 in the morning. But if you look more closely, the problem is not that you are missing something. It is that you have never truly had a chance to start your day. It sounds a bit strange, but think about it. Have you ever actually started a new day? Or do you just open your eyes, and the rest of the day is already running? You open your eyes, your phone is there, messages are there, work is there, deadlines are there. Everything is already waiting in a very polite way, but also in a very certain way that you will have to deal with it. And so you do not step into a new day. You get pulled into it. You do not choose to open your phone. You just pick it up as a reflex. You do not choose to start working. You just handle what is waiting. You do not choose to be tired. You just run out of energy without noticing. It sounds a bit unfair, but if you look back, most of your day is not decided by you. You are just reacting very quickly to whatever appears in front of you. And if you do that long enough, you start to think that is normal life. The funny thing is, you still think you're trying, because every day you end in complete exhaustion, a kind of exhaustion that feels reasonable, tired as if you have done a lot of important things, running from one thing to another nonstop. And at night when you lie down, you even feel a bit reassured that at least today was not wasted. But if you pause for a moment and look more carefully, you will realize you cannot point to a single thing that is actually moving you forward. There's no clear sign that your life is changing. You're just very busy and very tired. In a very convincing way. Then night comes, and you become serious about your life again, lying there thinking like someone who is truly about to change. Tomorrow you will learn that skill. Tomorrow you will read that self-development book you bought a long time ago with the hope that it would change your life. Buying it already made you feel like you improved. Reading it can wait until tomorrow. Tomorrow you will start that personal project you keep talking about, but have never done for more than a few days. It all sounds very reasonable, very planned, very much like someone about to achieve something. But the next morning, nothing big goes wrong. There is no tragedy, no major failure. It just does not start. Not because you do not want to, but because you do not have time to want it. Because the moment you open your eyes, your day is already running, but not started by you. Work, messages, unfinished things from yesterday. Everything falls into place to pull you along before you even remember what you wanted to do for yourself. And so those important things do not disappear. They just get postponed. Very gently, very reasonably, like you will deal with them tonight. And this loop, it is not loud. It gives no warning. There is nothing big enough to make you stop. It just flows smoothly, a little each day, to the point where you do not realize you are standing still. Or worse, drifting off track. The most frustrating part is that you cannot say you are not trying. You still work. You still get tired. You still think about the future. It is just that the things that matter most to you always get pushed into the moments when you are at your weakest. You study when your mind is already numb. You read when your eyes are about to close. You think about your life when your brain only wants to rest. So it is not that you are not capable. It is that you are trying to do the most important things in the worst possible state. And if it continues like this for a while longer, nothing will collapse. You will still live, still be fine, still do what needs to be done. But you will start to feel a very uncomfortable sensation that you have many plans, but none of them become real. You know you could be more than this, but there is no evidence that you are moving toward it. And that feeling, it is not loud, but it stays. At that point, you will not think I need to try harder, because you already have. You will start thinking something else. Something a bit more unsettling. Maybe I have never really started. And that is when the idea of waking up at 5 in the morning appears. Not because 5 in the morning is magical, but because it is one of the rare moments when nothing has had time to pull you away yet. And to have that moment, you do not need a big transformation. You just need to move slightly ahead of your day. Wake up before that familiar routine begins. And to do that, you have to deliberately wake up earlier than usual. 5 in the morning. Not to become a successful person, but simply, for the first time in the day, you are the one who starts first. And if you think the hardest part of waking up early is weak willpower, Honestly, that is a bit unfair to you, because the problem is not that you are weak. It is that you are playing a game that you already lost from the start. It is like you step into a debate with the very thing that creates the feeling of just sleep a little longer, and you think you can win by thinking a bit more. It already sounds off, because the moment right after the alarm rings is not a normal decision. It is a biological reaction. Your brain at that time does not care about the future, does not care who you want to become. It only cares about one thing: keeping you in the most comfortable state possible. And the bed at that moment, it is no longer just a bed. It is the most comfortable place in the world. And then in your head, a very reasonable voice appears, saying things like, sleep 5 more minutes. It will not hurt anyone. Then it upgrades. You are really tired today. You deserve a bit more rest. You did not sleep enough last night. Rest more to stay healthy. You stayed up late. Why wake up now and suffer? You can start tomorrow. It does not have to be today. Start on Monday for a clean beginning. Wait until next week for motivation. Even if you wake up now, you will not do anything meaningful. Hey, it does not sound wrong. It sounds logical. It even sounds like it cares about your well-being. But the problem is that voice is not helping you. It is just delaying what you already planned last night. And the funny thing is, you sit there arguing with it. You lie there thinking, maybe a bit more is fine. Or maybe I should just get up. Or 5 more minutes. And those 5 minutes can smoothly turn into 30 minutes without you remembering when you agree to it. You think you are deciding, but you are actually just extending the time in which you are guaranteed to lose. Because every second you lie, there is another second you give your brain a chance to convince you to stay. And your brain, honestly, it is very good at this. It does not need to be right. It just needs to be reasonable enough for you to nod. There's a very simple concept that not many people notice. To start an action, you need something called activation energy. It is like pushing a car that is standing still. Still. The hardest part is not when it is already moving, but when you have to push it out of stillness. Your morning is the same. The hardest part is not living with discipline all day. It is the moment you leave your bed. And if you lie there thinking, waiting until you feel ready, honestly, you can lie there for a very long time. Because your brain is not designed to help you leave comfort. It is designed to keep you there. It will always find a reason that sounds reasonable enough for you to stay, even if it already used that same reason yesterday. And at some point you will realize, you do not lack motivation. You do not lack understanding. What you lack is a way to not lose right at that first moment. So the solution is not to think more, try harder, or wait for a day when you feel more ready. It is to cut off that thinking entirely. The alarm rings and you get up. That is it. No negotiation. No explanation. Do not give your brain enough time to start the sentence. Sleep a little more is fine. Just be faster than it by 1 beat. That is all. It sounds a bit foolish, but the point is, it works. Because you do not need to defeat your brain. You just need to not give it a chance to speak. And the moment you get up before you even think, that is the first time you are not being pulled. The first time you are in control. Not in control of the whole day, just in control of one thing. But enough for that day to begin differently. And you can do this tomorrow. You do not need any special preparation. You do not need high motivation. You do not need to turn yourself into a new person. You just need to follow one very simple rule. When the alarm rings, get up before your brain has a chance to speak. That is all. No need to be perfect. No need to achieve anything big. You just need to not lose at the point where you have always lost. Because in reality, changing your life does not start with big decisions. It starts with not delaying one more time. On that small win, it will not make you successful immediately, but it creates something you have never had before. A piece of evidence, very small but very real, that you can do something even when you do not feel like it. And if you do that a few more times, you start to realize something slightly uncomfortable. That the problem was never that you were incapable. It was that you never got past that first moment. And that is why 5 in the morning matters. Not because it is magical, but because it is when you are most likely to lose. And if you can win there, then the rest of your day, at least, does not begin with you losing to yourself. The problem is, you do not see the cost of that right now. Everything still feels fine. It continues. It is enough for you to believe that you are not wrong until you look back and realize you have been standing still for too long. There is a person named Michael, 38 years old, who has had a stable job for more than 10 years. The kind of job that does not make him proud, but also does not make him worried. Enough to live. Enough for each month to pass steadily. Enough for him to believe his life could stay like that forever. And during that time, he has also thought many times about changing, thought about learning a new skill, thought about doing something more serious for himself. But every time he thinks about having to start over, he has to learn from the beginning, has to accept that he is not good, has to face uncertainty. He feels tired again and tells himself, I will think about it later. And that later stretches so long that he no longer sees it as procrastination. It becomes a normal part of life. Then one day everything stops, with no warning. Michael walks into a meeting room one morning like any other day. But this time it is not to give a work update. It is to hear a very brief announcement that his position is no longer part of the company's plan. They explain restructuring, a new direction, necessary changes, and everything sounds reasonable. So reasonable that he has nothing to argue with. He just sits there, listens, nods, then takes a piece of paper and leaves the room. That moment is not dramatic, but it is heavy. Something familiar for more than 10 years has just been removed from his life without any warning. And when he walks out, he realizes there is nowhere for him to return to the next morning. No meetings, no work waiting. And that feeling is not shock. It is a very deep emptiness. You know something big has just happened, but you do not yet understand how it will affect you. Michael holds the paper in his hand and walks out of the building. The glass door closes softly behind him. But it feels like something has completely ended. He stands there for a few seconds near the exit as if he needs more time to process what just happened. Then he steps onto the sidewalk, where people are still moving like any other day. They are in a hurry. They are busy. They have somewhere to go. And he stands there not knowing where he is going next. Looks at people wearing shirts like his, wearing employee badges like his, holding coffee like his. They walk past him quickly as if he does not exist. And for the first time, he realizes he no longer belongs to that rhythm. He is no longer part of that familiar flow he has never questioned for more than 10 years. The feeling does not hit suddenly. It presses down slowly, heavily, like something is pulling his whole body down, but he cannot name it. He starts walking, and not because he knows where to go, but because he does not want to stand still anymore. But each step makes one thing clearer. He is empty. No plan. No direction. His mind is a mess of thoughts. What do I do now? Where do I even start? And those questions slowly turn into something more uncomfortable. Why did I let things become like this? Why did I not start earlier? Why did I always think I still had time? He remembers very ordinary mornings. The times the alarm rang and he stayed in bed. The times he planned to learn but postponed it. The times he thought I am too tired today. Tomorrow. Back then everything felt reasonable. Nothing felt worrying. But now standing in the middle of this street, watching everything continue while he is left behind, he no longer sees them as small choices. He begins to clearly see that he brought himself here. Each ordinary morning, each time choosing what was slightly easier, each time thinking it was not necessary yet. None of it disappeared. It just stayed there, waiting for this day to show up all at once. And only then does he understand something very simple. You do not lose. You do not lose your life in one day. You lose it in the moments you choose to do it tomorrow. That feeling at that moment is not fear. It is not panic. It is a very clear heaviness. He understands that he could have completely avoided this situation just by starting a little earlier, being a little more serious, a little more consistent. But he did not. And now everything is no longer a choice. He stands in the middle of the crowd, watching them continue moving forward, while he feels like he is being held back. And for the first time, he is no longer confused. Everything is clear. There is nothing unfair here. He simply had enough time to become someone else. And he did not do it. And at that point, the question is no longer whether he is capable of changing or not, but that he has let too much time pass to the point where change now always comes with pressure, with anxiety, with the feeling that he is trying to catch up for what he has missed. And that feeling is something no one wants to go through if they could have chosen a little earlier. You are still on this side of the story, still in the stage where nothing has collapsed yet. There's still time to start when nothing is forcing you. There are still very ordinary mornings where you can choose differently. You do not need to do anything big. You do not need to become a completely new person immediately. You just need to start before things become bad enough. Because at some point you will still have to change. Not because you want to, but because circumstances force you to. And at that time, the cost is not only effort, but also confusion, disappointment, and regret for having known for so long but still not starting. So the question is actually very simple. It is not whether you can do it or not. It is whether you want to start tomorrow while you still have the choice, or wait until something happens, a painful enough setback appears, and only then you sit down, look at everything that has passed, and realize that you could have started earlier. You do not need another new plan. You do not need more motivation. You just need a clear decision tomorrow morning. When the alarm rings, you get up. No thinking. No delaying. No giving yourself another chance to negotiate. Not to do something big immediately, but simply to not repeat the old loop for one more day. Because every time you continue that loop is another time you move closer to a version of yourself that you do not even want to become. Tomorrow will not be different from today. The only difference is whether you act differently or not. And if you still choose the same way, then the result will also be the same. Nothing surprising will happen. So the story is not about whether you can change your life or not. It is about whether you can stop at the right moment, right now, before things go any further. Before things go any further. Because if you do not start now, you will start on a day when you wish you had started earlier.